Hey, welcome back to Forever Pondering. I'm Jasmine. Before we get into today's episode, I want to set something down for you. This is the second episode of Season 1, Know Thyself. And the conversation you're about to hear is between me and one of my closest friends, Angela, also known as Jia Yang. She's an artist, an educator, a stone carver, and an active member in a whole host of communities here in Calgary, and personally one of the most genuinely curious people I know. I'm telling you this upfront because this episode is different from the first one. The first episode was a keynote. This one is a conversation. It's softer. It moves the way a real conversation moves, with tangents, with laughter, with moments where we lose the thread and then find it again. And I'm leaving it that way on purpose. Because one of the things I want to model across this season and across every guest episode that I do is that you do not have to be an optimist, an expert, or anything more than yourself to find depth. You don't need credentials to know yourself. You don't need a 5-step method. You need attention. You need honesty. And sometimes you need a friend who'll sit across from you and ask why you really started working out. In this part, Angela and I get into what it means to build a self through practice, through your body, through things that you make with your hands, through the small daily acts of paying attention to who you are when no one is asking you to perform. So this is part 1 of a 2-part conversation. Take it slow, let it breathe, and see what comes up for you.
I know, it's so lovely.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasmine Elahee, and welcome to Forever Pondering. This is episode 2 of season 1 of Know Thyself. Today, we are welcomed by the lovely Jia Yang.
Freaking adore her. I feel like it's worthwhile to talk about how we know each other. At least we're on the same page. So basically, because you guys don't know who I am that much, I know my first episode, that was based off of one of the keynotes I did. Basically, I used to work at the Glenbow Museum's pop-up called Glenbow at the Edison here in Calgary. And one day in, 2023?
I think it was, around that time.
Early 2023. I think it was like January, February.
Yeah.
Yeah, during Howie Choi's.
It was, yes.
Yes. Was it when you came off a date?
Yes, I did. I remember now. It was actually, no, it was like right before I went on a date. I came in, I dropped in, I saw you at that time, and then you were like in this, like, I really remember like this really, such a cute pink jumpsuit, I believe, or like a set, or like a set.
Yeah. Was that?
Yeah, and then like more than that, it was just like the energy.
Yes,
Yes, I did. I was in my traditional sipao, getting ready for a little day.
It was so stunning, truly. I like watched this girl walk by. I was like, damn, I'm straight, I promise.
Unfortunately.
I know.
Honestly, when I first saw you, I was literally like thinking, like, because just like your energy and the way you like approach me and just other people, I was like low-key kind of infatuated with you. I was just like looking and be like, oh my god, how could somebody be this personable and so fucking fun? Yeah.
You're gonna make me. So as you could see, this is my woman straight off the bat. But yeah, no, basically me and her, we were just talking. I think you went in for a little bit and then you came out and then we just started yapping.
Oh my god, that was magical.
Oh my god, yeah, truly. I think Mila.
That was after.
Yeah, she came in the next day actually, because this was like at the end of my shift.
Right.
And Mila, she was one of my our coworkers, because Angela actually ends up working a year later with us, which is amazing, part of the visitor experience team there. And I told her, I was like, I met the most wonderful woman on earth. And she was so cool to talk to, so interesting. I think I've never hit on a girl. I was like, I think I should like calm down, because all I did was flirt with you. I was like, if the guy doesn't turn out to be good, you can always come back.
I remember that. I was about to call for a date because of that. But so that's all I'm gonna say. No shit, I just remember like having so much fun with you. I'm just like, this is the first time ever just being able to vibe with somebody just from the get-go, because that was the first time I met you.
And now she's here.
Now here we are.
Now here we are, 30 years later.
Hey, excuse you.
Hey. I'm a time traveler. My wrinkles in my forehead be showing recently. But yeah, no, so one of the main reasons why I wanted Angela on here is because, not, as you could tell, super personable, I'm not gonna ask your age because I don't know if you want that for the people to know, but for everything that she's done, for the person that she is, the stories that she has, and what she has created for herself, it is her. One thing I love about people, and one of the things that you will see with a lot of people who I'll invite, and she is the stable example, is that I love authentic and genuine people who have authentic and genuine stories to share. And especially with this episode, as I was boasting about you earlier on,
Thank you.
I wanted someone who knows how to embody themselves to share with you guys on what self and introspection looks like, not only in practice, but also in the journey of life. We don't want to preach to you guys because we're not like psychologists or experts, but we are people who live day to day with intention.
Exactly.
I feel like that's worthwhile to say, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's more or less worthwhile tuning into. We aren't going to motivate you if you want an inspirational motivator. There's going to be a lot of real talk, but I might even find something new today. I feel like there's so many different ways to express the self. So I think this is the perfect opportunity too. So to begin, I want to start off by, once again, the title is Introspection of the Self. When you think of the concept of the self, what does that mean to you? Or what is that to you?
Honestly, I feel like even from a young age, it comes naturally. I don't think for me, self is something that you necessarily have to intentionally build towards. The self is very much just who you are and just how you walk through the days of life, even without putting in much effort, or even when you are putting in effort, right? So it's like very much just like everything that you are is the self. It could be something that you don't want to be, but it could also be something that you're working towards, and it could be just something that you're not even aware of. I think everything encapsulates the self, right?
That's actually a really beautiful way. It's like a kaleidoscope.
I want to say, yeah.
It's a kaleidoscope of things. It's not necessarily a single facet.
And I do think people change a lot, as they should, right? So even if you wake up one day and all of a sudden you feel different, or you just do something differently than how you were before, that is still you.
Right? Absolutely. I think when it's on my end, anytime even when I was creating this episode and kind of thinking about these concepts, when I think of the self, for myself, I think of it as kind of like the wiring to a sculpture.
Yeah.
It's not your skeleton or anything. Like, nothing is really defined. It's just kind of that core existence that everything else built around. Because like you said, there's so many layers to it. There's so many angles about what's going to happen. You might not feel like yourself, or you might feel like more yourself, or I guess in life's experience, it's a little too vast to narrow it down to one.
Exactly.
But you are still you in your consciousness and in your experience regardless.
Exactly.
You know? So I think maybe there's some similarities there.
It kind of reminds me of like this, like, I forget like which philosopher mentioned this, like, oh, if you one day go through a coma, you lose your memories and you wake up again, would your personality be the same? Would the self essentially be the same, right?
Yeah.
So then just like, obviously, I do think our experiences do tie into who we are, and it does influence, but I feel like even ultimately, if you lose those experiences, there's still this continuity for me. Like, as you said, like the consciousness, I do think is what holds the person, or like the self together.
That is so, that's actually really interesting, because now I have a question. Because you brought that up. Do you think, because once again, your experiences kind of make up who you are in some aspects, your own personalities and how, I guess, you tread through life. What happens if that is different? Like, if you're really thinking about it, and as you post it, what happens if you are a different version of yourself? You wake up, you're not you. Like, there's those cases of people who have brain tumors and they are completely not themselves, or if they've gone through strokes, right?
Right.
If you've lost that essence, are you still recognized as you in your consciousness if you don't remember the same things? Or do you think it's you're still the self because maybe the external world sees you as still you?
I think for me, it goes back to like this continuity of the consciousness. Like even if you did forget, I think even if you did forget, for me, I would still consider me to be myself. It just, then I would just essentially be taking on like a different progressive role as I progress through life, right? That's a really good question. But I do think, because once again, I think something about it for me at the very least, I'm really like pretty set on the fact that if there is a continuous consciousness that is like a singular being, it kind of goes back to my Buddhist belief of like reincarnation. So it's like, even if you did reincarnate, or if you shed your physical body and the memories that came with it, you would still be yourself because of this continuous essence or consciousness that travels or goes into like a different being, right? So I do think even if I did, for example, woke up one day and was like, fuck, something happens, right? And I'm just like, oh, my personality is very, God forbid.
Sorry.
Exactly, God
Be
forbid.
superstitious.
Exactly, superstitious. Okay.
But yes.
Yeah, so if something did happen, I realized, oh, my personality is different, or I lost this core memory to me, I think because I can continue to go forward and continue to carry on, and just consciousness of mine will continue to have experience and make active choices, I will still be me.
I love it. Honestly, I like your mind, man.
Thank you. I was so afraid. I'm afraid of losing that.
No, honestly, like, okay, am I...
Yeah.
Do you affiliate with any belief systems, like, actually, or...
I think I grew up in some, so I am influenced by them, but I'm not. I'm not affiliated. No.
Yeah, it's not like your North Star in a way if you have that.
No.
Okay, I do have another question, because when you were mentioning Buddhism as well, because even with Hinduism, right, they're cousins.
Yeah, exactly.
Cousins, absolutely. The idea of reincarnation, I guess in a way linked karmas or linked lessons that are passed on through, I guess,
on a cosmic level, I think.
Yeah, on a cosmic level. But I'm forgetting what I was gonna say, like but that's deities. But it is that thing of like, you will have a common lesson throughout your lifetimes if people do believe in reincarnation. But it's kind of funny, because if you take that into consideration, although yes, we're talking about the self, when you look at those life lessons, does that see if we don't know if it's real or not.
Exactly.
Do you think that would add to who you are today, or do you think that those are individual experiences of the past?
So would that be like the quote unquote karmic ones? Or...
Yeah, like or karmic, or because with Buddhism, is it the 7 or 9? You guys don't.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. I'm not that deep into it.
Yeah, no, I think it's like 7 levels for Hinduism. I think it would be similar for reincarnation.
Right. As in the animal realm, or like different realms.
Yeah, exactly. I know for Hindus. I'm just confused. I'll talk about this.
We'll figure this out.
But basically, for them, they have a caste system, right? The lowest kind of being like dogs and like darker, or like poor people, and then to the highest is like gurus and spiritual leaders. So people kind of pass through those reincarnations, and when you're able to get to that highest level, then you experience moksha, that liberation, right? That because Buddhism has a similar kind of
like transcendence,
enlightenment.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah. So kind of getting to that level within reincarnations, that's kind of the Hinduism line of reincarnation there.
I see.
So it is all equally linked, but it's one of those things of like, in karma and the lessons that they learn, rather it's stuck to individual experiences and then kind of forgotten and then taught again.
Oh, I see. So it's much more like intrinsic to you, or like to your circumstances?
Yeah, kind of like that. Sorry, this is like such a tangent. But no, like it's an interesting kind of thought, because if people are religious about that, you kind of think, well, how does that contribute to your current life?
I see what you mean. It's just like, if I had like this predestined lesson I needed to learn, am I even without that lesson?
Yes.
Oh, I see. Oh, I like this question.
Yeah, because if you had the answers, and say if like, I know how you would see it, like say if that hypothetical was true, what do you think?
I wonder then. Yeah, I think from like the Buddha's point of view, then it would definitely be, yes, you are in a sense defined by your karmic debt or like karmic connections, which then would tie to like the lessons that you have to learn or you have to get past and overcome before you reach enlightenment. But then it's like, I think on a personal level, I'm trying to think back to my own like big moments in life where I'm just like, is that really fate or is it just a coincidence?
Yeah.
If it didn't happen, what kind of person would I be, right?
Yeah.
I think I may not be this exact same person with the same attributes or the same experience, but I would still be me. Once again, it's like this constant driving force of going forward and just going for it, right? Just keep on going for it and thinking that no
This
matter like,
drive.
the drive. It's just like no matter which path I take, I will still be me. I would just be the me that took this path, but I would still be me
Absolutely.
in that way. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I love that.
How about you then?
I think in a way, spiritually, I feel like everything that if reincarnation is real and past lives are real, we are very linked to the experiences. I like, you know how you hear people who have like really old souls,
Right.
right? You're an old soul.
Thanks, I think.
No, I mean, honestly, I think like old souls are some of the most beautiful kind of experiences. Like you see some of those young kids and you're like, you're not in tune with your generation at all.
Okay, I was reading then, yeah.
It's like a really beautiful kind of life to witness. I think when you see some of those old souls, and even like for myself, when I think of my own experience, if reincarnation is real, I know for myself personally, I feel like some of the things that I serve today is very interlinked with who I was in the past.
Oh, I see.
Like, I'm not saying I believe in reincarnation, but I'm agnostic. Like for myself, because my dad, he's Muslim, my mom, she's Hindu.
Oh,
Or like from backgrounds, I should say. Both of them were the rebels. But I was raised around like Buddhists and a lot of Catholics and even like witches and Wiccans. So I that's why I say I'm confused.
Yeah, it's like you can't let go of like having a deity, but also just like which one, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just kind of open to it. I call myself a religious whore for some reason. But it's one of those things of, in my experience, say when it comes to crisis management, maybe it might have been like attached to my childhood, but even when I was a kid, like I was very detached from people, but I was able to stay firm to my beliefs unknowingly.
Really?
So I was like, I don't really know. But then I had this one person, this one reader actually ended up telling me, they're like, this isn't your first time on Earth. And I was like, all right, dude, whatever you say. And then she was like, yes, but this is your first time as a woman. And I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense weirdly when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Because I think throughout my whole lifetime, I've been like a lot of people may not know this about me, but I'm very in tune with my masculine more than my feminine. Although I am a cis straight woman, I am actually way more masculine than I should be. And like maybe it's because I was raised with boys mainly, but at the same time, like you know how me and you talk and everything. You've seen me in my friend groups.
Yeah.
I don't see myself as someone timid. I don't see myself as someone, I'm going to talk on stereotypes here.
Yeah.
But like, you know how a lot of people equate femininity with insecurity?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Or like,
exactly.
especially for like straight women, it's very insecure. It's very competitive, stereotypically. I don't connect with it. Like even when I was doing pageants, it's hard. It's hard because you're like, why?
Why am I competing when we can just be together and be good together?
Right. Clock it.
That's a lot of red.
No, exactly. Like I remember when I was younger, a lot of people would like think I was bi or they would think I was trans.
Right.
Because I was But it's so weird. It's so weird because it's like a woman can't just be assured in herself.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's an odd kind of experience because when that woman was telling me, oh yeah, so this is your first time as a woman in this life, I'm like, I know I'm in tune with my masculine, but is that really a reflection of my past or is that just who I am?
Exactly, right?
But I have another question for you on this topic. obviously there's an age where we come to consciousness, right?
Mhm.
A lot of it, when is it, 4, 5 years old, when we're able to like
Yeah.
recognize and like remember things and I guess attribute things to others. When do you feel like you recognize yourself? Not in consciousness, but like can recognize yourself.
Oh, I think like this is who I am as a person.
Like I'm Angela. This is me as an
God.
individual. I'm not just eyes.
Honestly, oh, that's a hard question because I feel like once again, like even I feel like for all of us or maybe most people,
Mhm.
I'm not really sure. But like as you go through life, you do operate on
Mhm.
like a set of values or a set of personality that you think you have or you do have as as yourself.
Absolutely.
But then it's just like when you have like the cognitive ability to reflect on it and think and like kind of decide, oh, this is what makes me compared to other people. That's like a different thing. And that's what you're asking, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, it would have to be sometime in middle school because like you, like I didn't really grow up as confident or as like out there as you would say or like
Yeah.
stuff like that. I do think like especially in elementary I had a pretty competitive streak and was a bit more, I'm not sure if insecure was the right word, but it's much more like, oh, I'm not as out there as I am now, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I feel like during middle school that's when I was like, okay, something clicked in me and I was like, okay, I'm very much out there, very much quite different than what I see in my peers, right? To a point in which people also thought I was gay. They're not wrong.
And hey,
Ladies,
being interested. She is open.
but yeah, like definitely like as you said, like I, especially when it comes to like being like a woman, like a cis woman or like a straight cis woman, like so much of it is contingent on you being insecure or you being not as verbal about who you are as a self, right?
Yeah.
So I think going back to your question, when I realized who I was or what differentiated me from the other people was when in middle school I just became really outspoken and very like much just passionate in many ways and kind of just lost my competitive streak as you did, right? Because I'm just like, so much of those lives that we have, like, why should we use it to compare ourselves to others?
Sure.
Why can't we all just be good?
Absolutely.
And then when I talk about that to other people, that's when I realize, oh, I guess I'm kind of alone on that idea within my circle of the time.
Yeah, no, it's a very, I'm not going to say it's a humbling experience, but it's a very disassociating.
Daunting.
Yes, daunting's the right word. It's very odd because I totally get where you're coming from. 200%. I'm so happy we found each other.
We're actually so similar.
No, truly. And I love it. I adore it. Because do you remember that light switch? That moment when that happened? Like that key kind of trigger?
I think
what happened?
I wonder, I don't know the trigger, but I just know there was probably a build up and a feeling of like just being overcome with love to the world in some sense. That's when I think it like having that much passion and love towards others around me and the world and in general really just like because of that you kind of cast away your own ego and following that it casts away any kind of competitive streak, but also your insecurities because you realize you are also are part of this world, so thus you would love it or love yourself similarly to how you would love everything else, and then that just liberated me in many senses. Sounds like enlightenment, actually.
It is. And that's like, I think that's where the root of like enlightenment is, right? Because a lot of people, people will try to seek knowledge in the world. People will try to seek knowledge in one specific thing, but then they will forget about the self.
Yeah.
And they will forget about, I don't want to say like you need to be hyper aware of everything in your life to find enlightenment, but if you are wanting to get to that point of being comfortable with knowing why your existence is present, you need to seek it within.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because if you're just out there looking, you're helping other people find their selves.
Absolutely.
You can't really see yourself.
And on top of that, like, I don't want to say like that, but if you haven't really done the work or healed from your traumas or healed from, I guess, the inflicted wounds from everywhere else, and you can't understand yourself, who are you to give advice?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I do think that okay, I'm gonna kind of like counter you right
No,
away.
absolutely. This is hit me with it. Hit me with it.
Yeah, because I feel like from my own personal experiences, I've met so many people who have been in pain or are in pain, but then they're still able to offer really great perspectives, right?
That's true.
So although I do think we should all try our best to heal ourselves for the benefit of you, because who wants to
Absolutely.
suffer? I don't want other people to suffer.
No,
I
of
do
course.
think that when people are in the state of suffering, they're able to see things from a perspective that I don't really get, right?
Sure.
Right. So if they're carrying this burden or this pain throughout with their life, and I'm not, carrying a similar burden, just being able to see their story or their perspective is actually really helpful for me, because I'm just like, oh, so if this happens to me, this is what I can do, or this is the mindset that helped them move forward. So if or when I come across similar types of suffering, I could rely on those essentially mind frames
Yeah, mindsets.
Frameworks?
Yeah, exactly.
to carry
My-
forward. Yeah, mind maps.
My math. It's within the mind. It's a framework.
Yeah.
It's the framework of it. And you know what? I agree with you. I think the reason why I say the part of healing is because you are right, because you can learn. You can learn from people who are healed and unhealed throughout your lifetime. But it's one of those things where you take everyone's advice with a grain of salt kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in my lifetime, I've realized that a lot of people who give advice and they have been inflicted with wounds. I'm not saying they can't give good advice. Even for myself, even when I was going through some of my hardest stuff, people were still seeking advice. But it took me being a person to, I guess, remain aligned with my values to be able to offer it. Because say like, there are a lot of people out there who get hurt by others, and the first thing that they say is, well, fuck everyone else.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? And it's one of those things of, if you're going to give advice based on hate because of the wounds that you have received within your lifetime,
Then it's not really honest to the person who wants the
exactly.
I see what
It's not an equal kind of handing of information.
Yeah, it's your biasness.
Yeah, it's almost like you're giving someone burnt pages where they also have to decode it, when instead you could just say, sorry, this page is kind of destroyed, but this is what I remember, and here's what I can offer you with that advice.
And then take it with a grain of salt. I see what you mean.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
agree.
because I remember even with say when it comes to relationships, or even with my past, like my parents, they had that really nasty divorce, and anytime they would talk about love and relationships, my mom, she would always tell me, and she still tells me this today, where it's like, you should just go for a rich man, you shouldn't care about this, that, and the other. I'm like, you didn't raise me this way for the longest time. Why would I do that? And she's like, well, that was my mistake. I'm like, okay, I understand that is your pain and your regret now, and I hope that's not the case for me, but that's not necessarily healthy advice to be given. And it's very hypocritical advice, because if you can take it and you're giving me the advice that you regret in your own individual experience, is that fair to me to receive that same advice if we are not living parallel lives?
Exactly, right?
You know?
Yes, for sure. They're definitely coming from, in your mom's case, like her experiences with marriage and a divorce.
Yeah.
So because of that, like, she cares with her own emotions when she's giving you these. Yeah. With these advices.
Exactly. But that's why when it comes to when you look at yourself and when you're doing that inner work, but I love your counter, because it is true. Because if everyone had healthy experiences throughout their lifetime and they did all their healing, not everyone's going, like, I know some of the biggest lessons I've learned through my life, not to be that way, is witnessing other people give me bad advice.
Yeah. And then basically do not.
Exactly. I don't want to say I'm a spiteful person, but I'm not going to say I don't listen to advice, but if someone gives me toxic advice, I'm going to be like, so I'm not going to do that.
Exactly, because you are your own person. You're thinking for yourself.
Exactly. But it does take that awareness of yourself to not blindly follow rancid advice.
That is true, exactly.
You know?
Like, you need to know your own limits, you know what's best for yourself. And that comes with time, though.
Exactly. Because also, like, when I asked you that question, like that original question about when you found yourself, I know in my experience, I think the moment that I kind of recognize that's not just conscious, I am me, and this makes no sense. Like, someone posed a description of myself back when I was in middle school. Back when I was in middle school, I was a part of this program called TLC.
I see.
Yeah, we had this thing called Student of the Month, and we would elect a student who represent the virtue or value that was represented that month.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in grade 6, and one day I won for tolerance. And I was just like, I don't want to sound like this. I got a nickname in high school, and it was Rogue from one of my teachers. He was my management teacher. But I will say he was a white dude.
A white man. I love that.
Honestly, he was a dope dude, but it was very disorienting. But I remember in grade 6, I got this award for tolerance, and I remember this is kind of like one of the first triggers of like, oh, I am myself. Because I've always kind of been a lone wolf throughout my lifetime, and I've been really true to myself, but I didn't recognize that I am being myself until someone pointed out, oh, the reason I voted for Jasmine for tolerance is because Jasmine has a lot of like friends from different backgrounds. And I was just like,
Oh,
that makes me tolerant.
the bars and hell question mark?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, I get it. I'm not really only hanging out with Indian people. I didn't have any Indian friends. Also, because I wasn't Indian. I didn't have a lot of I had like a couple African friends, but a lot of African friends didn't want to be friends with me because I wasn't African. And then the people who adopted me was like a bunch of Chinese girls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, shout outs to my girl. What were we called again? The 7 S's. 7 S's, yeah. And we were so close and everything, but I got elected for this award because I apparently didn't have friends who all looked like me. And I thought that was the weirdest thing that someone could say to me, because I was just like, I'm actually very intolerant. I don't want to talk to anybody else. But I remember I went up to my teacher and I was like, I don't understand why I won Student of the Month for this month. I mean, I'll take it, I guess. But that's so odd.
Yeah.
And it made me really reflect on who I was, my virtues and values. And I think it was also because kids are bullies. One kid told me at one point, he's like, well, you just want to be Chinese. And I was just like, I'm Mauritian.
Yeah.
We have a kaleidoscope of colors. I like, if you, one day I have to take you to Mauritius.
I would love to go to Mauritius.
Absolutely. And it's just super multicultural. And you'll see, like, we're literally just like a little Asian African, like, hot pot.
Yeah,
pretty much.
exactly.
And it's great. It's great. But that's when I had that first revelation of, but that's just normal.
Exactly.
And then it's that same thing of like, well, people don't see the world how I see it.
And then they view you differently from how you view yourself.
Exactly. And it's that thing of, do I let other people define me or do I choose myself?
Exactly.
And I think the more that people started to misunderstand what I was doing throughout my lifetime,
The more you question over yourself.
Exactly. Because who else was going to accept it? And especially for me, I had to question, why am I doing these things? And it got to a point even with, I remember when I was in high school, some girls were picking on me about being single. And I was like,
Why are just so many mean people near you? Oh my goodness.
no, honestly speaking, I respectfully, in my lifetime, for some reason, I attract the ops.
Like, they're
Always.
so mean.
I don't know why, but I think it's also because in my lifetime, being a person who's typically very detached, like, I'm personable with people who are on the same wavelength as me.
Right.
That's why when me and you started talking, I was like, oh my God, I could just,
Yeah.
but it's being met.
Ah, right.
But if there's people who aren't in
At
that,
your weight, you're not going to stoop down for them.
no, I can't. I don't have the energy to do it.
Same.
It's really hard to like,
Meet them where they're at when they're at such a different level than you.
Exactly.
Obviously, we want to be tolerant or adjustable,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like there's so much to do than just talking about things that doesn't interest me.
No, and I think it takes a lot of people to find enjoyment in meaningless substances. I'm gonna say meaningless in the lightest way that I can. Like, a lot of people feed off of other people's joy.
Yeah.
A lot of people feed off of other people's failures.
Oh.
Gossip, right?
Oh my god.
Oh my God, there's tons. I remember I was just at an event and one girl, she came up to me and she started like gossiping or tried to gossip with me. And all I could do was smile. And I was like,
Okay.
I don't really think I have anything. I'm really uncomfortable with this conversation. That's all I could say because I hate gossiping.
Yeah.
Like, if I got tea is one thing.
Yeah.
Gossip is another
Yeah, gossip is like you're talking about something else. Here, you're talking about yourself mostly.
Exactly. It's like, you would not believe what I did.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, can you believe this person is blah, 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 blah. It feels grimy.
It does.
Like, when you said it best. The way that you looked at the world, the love that you have for the world around you, that is I'm going to call it a balloon. That's a very big balloon to hold because there's so many things to adore.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
If you only love yourself, you can tend to your one belief. But if you are in love with the beauty of the world and you're passionate about it and you are deeply caring about all these aspects in life, you can't push that down.
Exactly.
That's hard to box it in. You will pop it. It'll
Exactly.
either explode or it's going to bounce back. It's like in one of those bouncy houses.
Exactly. And it's never a good time if you try to contain it.
Exactly.
So you just have to let it go.
I mean, have you ever had to contain that box, or have you ever, I guess, tried?
I feel like I have, in a sense that a lot of times, or some certain times,
Yeah.
certain groups of people or friends, they don't really necessarily match the energy when it comes to just caring for other people.
Yeah.
Right? Because like I feel like I was really fortunate enough to that I grew up around like a lot of nice and kind people who didn't bully me or make fun of me for being single. That's really weird. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, in my life, she's a little
We
rocky.
need to do another episode on that though. I guess I'll be with gossip. But that's your tea. That's your tea.
Yeah, exactly. It's every experience makes another person, right? Everyone has their own experiences to get them to where they are, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
But
yeah, so I feel like for me, just like I grew up in like quite a nice and kind of environment in which people like they were relatively accepting, although I would say a lot of them were quite pacifist in a way. So then I just say if I want to do something a bit more active in helping others, or I show them like a different like point of view and like try to show them why I have empathy for certain people, they would meet it relatively in a relative cold or just sometimes unamused, sometimes just downright a bit weirded out manner in that sense. So I think that's when I just have to, like, those are moments where I just have to like hold it back. And then, yes, as you said, it was very, very much like, oh my God, I want to kill myself. What are you guys doing?
it's like, I don't know why you're doing this.
Exactly. Or why are you not doing this? Like, why are you so apathetic towards things? Why are you so...
Yeah.
Why are you staying there? Get up!
It's a little frustrating. It's absolutely. But it's such a weird experience when you start learning about not just other people's perspectives, not only your perspectives, but like how everything can exist in tandem.
Exactly, right? It's just like, what do you mean I exist? And we live in a society in which somebody has the exact opposite thoughts, and then we can still both go to a grocery store and buy groceries. Whack.
It is. And okay, because with that being said, because now I'm quite curious. Justice actually, she asked me this question once, and she asked a lot of people.
Yeah.
Without your job or whatever you do to make money, how would you describe yourself? Who is Angela?
Lazy. Sorry. I'm sorry, that was me before. I feel like that made me crazy.
Okay, hold on. Reel it back. Okay.
I'm like,
Just great.
because I'm just thinking like back to like the day-to-day parts of life in which like, you know, like doing chores or like actively or like proactively doing stuff to make your life a bit better. I feel like I don't do that much.
No.
It takes a lot for me to just like get to do something that I'm not that interested or passionate about.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I was like, oh, lazy.
It may be no way it's like being stubborn, because I'm the same way. If I don't care about it, you won't see me around it.
It's so hard.
It is.
It's so hard. I don't know how people like do it. I don't know if it's like something to do with my brain, but it's just if I'm here and I need to like write an essay that I don't want to write, I'm just like sitting there. I could like tie myself to a chair, but I wouldn't write a single word. It's so hard.
I know, I get you. I remember when I was doing my history degree,
Oh God.
anything that was on Canadian, American, or like, I'm gonna just say Western European, like British and French mainly, or like World War I, World War II.
Yeah.
If it was anything on those topics, or even like feminist gender history, like when I mean hyper feminist gender history.
So like third way?
Yeah, third way.
Oh.
Anything that was around those, I would literally sit there and I would refuse. I didn't care. Like, you could see on my transcripts, like I bombed those courses.
Oh, I see.
And it was simply because I did not want to go through history with a colonial lens.
Oh, so would it be like white or like Western?
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah, like when you're sitting through, like if I'm sitting through an Indigenous Canadian history, I am more than intrigued. If you're going to teach me about white man did this, white man did this, white man set up law, I don't care.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things of because when I was in university, I had that name called the masochist. Because people would, I would be that student who would choose the hardest topic on any essay. I would create my own theses just so I can challenge myself to do more research.
Oh, and it's not just centered around Western.
No. And
Nice.
I'm stubborn about it because I'm like you, where you would have to tie me down to write in, like I could do it if I really, really, really wanted the grade.
Yeah.
But if I just have to get through it because it's like, oh, this is a mandatory class, I will just pass by it with a C or D.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's okay. But it is, I'm just as stubborn. But I don't think that's lazy. I think it just means that like you're a person who can genuinely be present with enjoyment.
Oh,
I think that's what it is.
you're so good at reframing things. Oh my goodness.
Hey, you know what? When you live a life, I mean, a lot of people used to say I was a pessimist. For the longest time, people called me a pessimist, and it was Stephanie from Limbo. She was like, "Oh, it's so nice that you're an optimist," and I almost threw up. I almost threw up when someone called me like our hiring manager. She called me an optimist, and I was like, I don't want to be like that. I was doing my little work. She called me I heard the word optimist. I said, "What you call me?" Like as if she called me a slur. It was hilarious. But it's definitely one of those things where it's not just reframing. Like for myself, a lot of people could say I'm lazy, but it's that same thing of like, if I'm really enjoying something, if I'm really passionate about something, I will be the hardest worker on earth. And I will find efficient ways to do things that work for everybody.
Yeah.
But when I am in my own zone and I'm just doing my own thing and I'm at my base layer, I will enjoy my presence and I will cherish it. And I will cherish that peace that it comes with. Like, I love being in that liminal.
That really speaks to me.
Yeah.
Like the way that you phrase this too, I'm just like, yeah, I think that's exactly it. I really enjoy just being in the presence
Absolutely.
of my own peace or my own enjoyment. Wow, let me get that on a t-shirt.
Merchandise.
Yeah, because I'm reflecting on like the stuff that I do and like the things that I do outside of work or outside obligatory things, and it's just like, yes, I do it because I'm motivated by the enjoyment I get, obviously, but just like being so present within something that I enjoy is what I'm living for. And I feel like that's what a lot of people do, but I just don't think they realize it.
No.
In many ways.
I feel like a lot of people run away from it.
Yeah.
Because like, even say within relationships, you know, for me, I always get grief from a lot of people about this, where it's like, well, why do you end up being so quiet? Or why are you so like, I don't know. I get into this one mode where I get super quiet when I'm in relationships, when I'm super comfortable with a person.
Yeah.
But it's because I like my peace and I want to share my peace with a person. If I wasn't with you and I didn't like you, I'd be filling up air.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where maybe I'm quiet, maybe I'm lazy, maybe I could be stubborn. But if I'm truly just me as myself, I'm just enjoying
being you. Being me.
I'm enjoying existence.
Exactly.
I'm not fighting to run away from it. I'm not trying to fight for a hobby or anything. I have hobbies. I'm a hobby hoarder. But until I find inspiration,
I'm not going to force myself to do it because I'm enjoying something else at the moment.
Exactly. And it's really hard, like, especially say with mental health and like say with people who struggle with depression. When you're stuck in it, you're not really enjoying your present. You're stuck in your thoughts.
Oh,
right.
Oh, I see. So there's no enjoyment in it.
No, that's why people struggle with that deeply. Like, I remember when I was really deep in my depression, and as much as I felt alone, I wasn't alone because it was just my brain giving me all these horrific ideas.
Oh.
There was no moment of me just turning that shit off.
Right.
and being with myself.
Right. So there was no peace even if you were alone.
Exactly, because for some reason, whether it was my circumstances of the time or if it was my displeasure with who I was or where I was at or the pressures I was facing, it's always circumstantial. All that talk, whether that was self-talk or if it was just subconscious kind of mindsets and I'm going to just call them inklings, but you're not alone in your mind when you're depressed. Because if you're alone, me and you were talking today, if you had everything else done, what would you be doing right now?
Hopefully something that I enjoy doing,
Yeah.
like something that I'm happy to do.
Absolutely.
That could be like maybe just taking a walk because like the weather's pretty nice outside.
And when you're on your walks, do you ever pay attention to what's going on through your mind?
And sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like deeper in thoughts, but sometimes it's just like, oh, I have thoughts, but like it's almost as if you're like watching it from like a third person's point of view, as you observe, oh, this is a thought that comes into my mind. Do I like it or not? If I like it, maybe it stays. If not, then let's just let that pass.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can get into that zone. Sometimes I do get stuck into like some negative things because of external circumstances, right?
Absolutely.
It tends to be like that.
It's always going to be a conversation when you're kind of going through those things. But even when you are doing things that you enjoy, as you said, it's kind of that third person kind of experience when you do witness yourself enjoying or maybe thinking about things where you catch yourself, right?
Yeah.
But whether that's the what do they call it? It's not the subconscious, it's the
Unconscious? No.
the unconscious. Yeah. It's kind of like unconsciously existing within your vessel.
Exactly. And it's just like, why is so much, it's just like, if we think about it, why is it so complicated?
It doesn't have to be, but it's one of those things where if you get to a point of understanding yourself and understanding who you are, and you catch yourself in those moments, it feels, I don't know about you, I know for myself, it almost feels like it is kind of that angel devil thing where it's like, oh, I have a mini me just sitting there. It's like, oh, hey, did you see that? Did you see that bird on the tree? That's super cute, right? Did you? Oh no, you heard it though. It's kind of this weird little moment for myself. I'm not schizophrenic. But it is one of those things where the moment I kind of learned that I am more in tune with myself, sometimes for myself, I used to feel like I could feel all my past selves. Like, I mean, when I say my past selves, like my 13-year-old self, 12-year-old self, right? And I felt like I could witness them with me whenever I was doing stuff, and it felt like that was my baggage when I was walking through life.
Oh, I see.
Until I started like kind of healing them one by one. Right. It just feels like, oh, when I'm kind of with myself and in my thoughts, it's that little version of myself that's like, are you paying attention?
So would it be, for example, like if you were to witness something new, like the 13-year-old self, you're essentially witnessing the 13-year-old self, the 13-year-old self's reaction to the new circumstance?
200%. Like, I remember when I was doing pageants and I could feel, like, this sounds so weird to talk about this, but it was one of those things where when I signed up to do pageants, I can vividly feel my like 13-year-old self be like, why the fuck do you want to strut around in heels? Like, you wanted to wear baggy like chachis and like all these hip-hop gear and all of this stuff, and you wanted to be like I wanted to be like a rapper.
You did?
Yeah. And it's like, now you want to like strut around and aim for a crown? That's so ridiculous. And I could feel myself judging myself.
I see.
But I was like, where is this coming from?
Right.
But that's when it's that thing of returning to like your core of why am I even doing these things and kind of reflecting through. Because every version of myself growing up,
right,
they're all a little different, but they're all the same. They're all attached to a very strong thread of not wanting to conform. That's like, if you take away my job, if you take away my experiences, who I am as a person, I would describe myself as I don't want to say a rebel, but I'm a very rebellious person. I hate doing things the same way as everyone else. I hate having to conform to societal norms. And I'm so stubborn with how I want to see the world. If someone wants to see the world in a negative light, even as a pessimist myself, I'm not going to agree with it.
Because they're the one doing it like that?
In a way, but it's also like, I like being a third eye.
Oh, I see. So you like just essentially detaching yourself from like this conflict, that
Absolutely.
like this dichotomy essentially.
Yeah. And it's not like, oh, I need to force myself to. It's just, I will not allow someone to see a 2D picture at the end of the day if I'm in a conversation with them.
Right,
And I will
right.
refuse to let myself live a 2D life.
Mhm.
Because if everything was so black and white, we would be in a cartoon.
Exactly.
You know?
Life would be so much easier. That way.
Exactly. I would be chasing butterflies all
Yeah,
day.
sure.
You know? But no, that's how I see my experience of the self. Is it's very interlinked, but that core theme of I'm not going to do everything the same way. And even if someone does see, like, I find myself being a mirror to a lot of people in life.
Right.
I'm not going to always reflect back what they want.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And it's unintentional. It's very unintentional, this kind of, like, I'm going to call it a hipster mind. But it is kind of. It's always been this way. Even when I was a small kid, I didn't want to hang out with everyone, and everyone wanted to do little things. And it's not that I was antisocial. I was just very intentional with what I was wanting to do if I was connecting with people.
Right.
Yeah. And it was very off-putting, but the more I learned to accept it, I learned how to kind of control that aspect and really understand why I was doing those things.
Right. And why were you? Or it's just because of like the nonconformity then?
No, it's not just non-conforming. I think in my life, I've always had to be kind of an outsider.
Right.
And it's not like I try to force myself there. I think it was just very natural for me to, I think it was just kind of like, I don't want to say a visionary thing, but it was like, it just felt natural for me to do it. And I think it was circumstantial for some of the reasons why. Like, if somebody wanted to be, like, gang up and be friends with one person kind of thing.
Right.
I wouldn't do that because I myself know my virtues and values, and I know that is wrong.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to do that because I could see the intentions of other people and why they were doing it. I think that's where it's more, the reason I started doing things differently and why I felt myself doing things differently is because it was seeing other people's intentions and aligning with my intentions.
Oh, I see. So it's like from a young age,
Yeah.
you are already able to kind of reflect on like, does this align with me?
Yeah,
Who you are as a person,
exactly.
and then just having the strength essentially to just setting that hard boundary when needed.
Exactly. And I think that's just kind of gone forward and gone forth throughout my whole lifetime, because I always run into this thing of like, why can't I just do the damn thing? Why can't I just do the damn thing? And maybe it's in my wiring, but it is that thing of like, if it doesn't align, I don't want it. I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to agree. I'm not going to sit here just because somebody told me to do it.
Right.
It's the same thing with art.
Right.
Like, honestly, like, what was it? There was this one abstract artist that came in and somebody was telling me about how beautiful it was. And I sat there and I was like,
Is it really?
bro, you could tell me this is like the most expensive and wonderful piece. I will not see it.
Yeah.
Because I don't align with the vision of it.
Right.
But that's just me and myself. Like, you can't convince. I don't want to say you can't. You can convince me if there is logical reasoning.
Right. So essentially, so they could give you essentially like evidence or an argument or their perspective, and but those perspectives and those things that they say must also go through your way of analyzing things.
Yeah, like,
because you're critical.
I'm very critical.
As you should. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like there's a part of my mind where, like, I'm not saying I will never say I'm always right. There's so many chances I will be wrong. And I'm more than accepting of it. And if you can prove me that I am wrong, I will accept it with gusto.
Yeah.
If not, don't tell me it's white because I said it's white and that's the only way to see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then I'm not going to see it. If you show me that it's white because this is the makeup, this is how the mouth works, this is how the science is with it, and this is how it's reflecting into my vision and blah, 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 then I'll be like, oh yeah, it's white. You know? You can't give me baseless lies for me to go off the...
Yeah.
I'm a horrible consumer.
It's okay. You are just a critical consumer, as you should be under capitalism.
Exactly. But no, like, okay. Getting back to this conversation with itself, because there's so many aspects and different ways to kind of go through it. How do you feel? Like, you have an education background, right?
Yes.
And what ages do you typically work with?
I work K through 12, but I do think I have like a more of a hold, like have a better
Mhm.
understanding on how to approach elementary. So that would be
Yeah.
like maybe 1 through 5, 1 through
Yeah.
4 grades. Yeah.
Okay, fair. So I have a question because
Yeah.
especially, most of our lives when we were in our teens,
Mm-hmm.
most of the time we spent is at school.
Mm-hmm.
It is with our educators, it is with the facility, it is with our classmates and peers, right? As a person who's taken education and who is learning about these educational backgrounds, most of the time being in school, do you think educators or the system is allowing people to find the self?
Oh.
Is there any room for that there?
I see. No. However,
Mhm.
I do think, especially in the more recent years, there has been a more of a push and more like actual, like feasible and tangible
Mhm.
effort in just trying to inspire students and like having those self-reflective
Mhm.
conversations. I do, once again, I'm still quite new into the education
Of
system
course.
itself, and like from like, going into it as like a teacher's perspective.
Mhm.
But I do, like, for example, like even in middle school or in say high school, there's like a lot more times where they're having like questions or topic discussions about like how does this text relate to you as a person,
Mhm.
how does this main character influence
Mm.
you and your perspective on this certain thing and stuff like that. So there is, however, I do kind of wish there was more of a push towards it in the elementary scene, because
Yeah.
I think, as we both discussed before, like even back then, I think the self is constantly being developed. So if they were able to be more cognizant about what they take in, what their perspectives are,
Mhm.
why do they have those perspectives as a young kid,
Yeah.
it just sets them up for success. And it kind of just like helps them avoid any kind of, say, discriminatory
Yeah.
or just harmful views that may come about it, right?
True.
Because
Very
then
true.
at that point, they could think for themselves, even at their young age of like grade 4, grade 5, they could think, oh, this person or this TV show I'm watching says this about this certain type of existence or this certain type of personality or this certain type of identity.
Mhm.
Do I agree with it? Why or why not? Right?
Yeah.
How would this, or
Critical thinking.
right, that critical thinking aspect, I really wish we, kind of started a lot more sooner,
Yeah.
and obviously adjusted so that it's more
Mhm.
palatable for younger students. But
Yeah.
it's so important. It's so stupidly important to have.
I think because between how you're educated
Mhm.
about education and
Mm.
from the experience that you have, although it is a little bit more recent,
Yeah.
is there a difference? I don't know if that topic comes up
Yeah.
for you guys when it comes to critical thinking or
Oh,
in
it does.
that
For
recognition.
sure.
What is the difference between being like in person, on hand learning in comparison to what you're learning in the academic field? And
Oh,
is there
wow.
a discrepancy there?
Yeah. I definitely think, once again, like if you're just taking to the post-secondary and you're learning to become a teacher, in that sense, so much of the things I learn is theory. Mostly what we do is just discussion and reflection.
Mhm.
As well, at this point we're adults, right?
Mhm.
So we already have essentially all of what we ever have learned up until then
Mhm.
to use to discuss. But then it's like when we try to translate what we learned from schools into the actual workforce, into the actual schools and classrooms, we don't really get the instructions to do so, because of just how diverse the students that we have, right? Obviously, you can't plan for all type of circumstances, so you do have to be quite adjustable and flexible with your thinking and your approach. But even then, it's just like, do wish we had more discussion about how do we actually encourage students of all ages to consider for themselves what is self-identity, what is identity of other people, what impact does identity have on them and their peers and the world around them, as well. Just like how do we think critically about all of these topics, right? So unfortunately, I don't think there is that much, or like most of it in when you're becoming a teacher is just learning the theory. You don't really get the tools to kind of execute it. It's very much there, which I feel like is kind of bad, because ideally I would rather them give me the tools and then I could kind of synthesize or just kind of like relate to the theory more the more I'm teaching.
Absolutely. I think that's like quite interesting between the academic field and like on hand, because even with like say with history and getting to the museum fields, a lot of it was it was similar, but it was different because right, being in the arts, everything is subjective. How you're interpreting things is subjective. But when you're looking at the logistics about how to apply it, you know, you got to do your master's to do those kind of things.
Yeah.
Because they teach the history department as just like an elective resource.
Oh,
in a sense, right?
Yeah.
When you're actually a history student and you're sitting and you're having those conversations on critical thinking, or how do you apply this within museums and in education, those kind of topics, it's biased. There's a specific agenda with some of those teachers
Exactly.
in how they're wanting to sell it.
Exactly.
But I find it interesting because I don't know about you guys. Like I think, what is it, in elementary school into middle school, there used to be, like, I remember back in the day, teachers would have us journal. Like a journal about our day or a journal about our week.
Yeah, we still have them. It's quite common, actually.
But I find it funny because although we're able to take those journals and do that, right? We stop at a point when it comes into getting from like late middle school into high school. And then we stop reflecting because there's just too much information that we're learning.
Exactly, which is a disservice in my opinion.
Absolutely. Right. And then when you're looking at, oh, well, why did you have the kids' journal in the first place? Like, for me, this is actually a question, because when you're in elementary and when you're in middle school doing these journaling practices, what is the intention for the teacher?
For sure, I think a lot of it is just to have students practice the language itself and making them comfortable with writing. So that could, like, obviously every part that comes with language, so syntax, grammar, as well as spelling, right? And obviously, especially now in this day and age with AI and AI writing and stuff like that, expressing. It's just we really want students to be able to express themselves in their own voice, opposed to a voice that
is kind of being
given to them.
Yeah.
Right. Because once again, like, just having like pen to paper, or just like having pencil to paper, or being able to just recite out loud in some ways what you're thinking, it's like a reinforcement loop for yourself.
Absolutely.
Right. So beyond just like the technical language skills, is just having that deeper reflection and helping build that relationship with yourself. Because especially when those like personal journals, like those personal diaries, we do, at least for me, I want my students to just write down what they experience, and so then they could think about it again. And just be really reflective. I'm using this word again. Reflective.
No, but that's a big part, right? Reflection is a big part of these things.
Reflection, and being really critical about what happens to them, how that makes them feel when they're in like a different space, right? So for example, if they went outside, they encounter a situation and they don't really know how they feel about it just during the moment.
Yeah.
When they come back home, they are able to write it down. And then as they're writing down, they're able to like kind of savor their exact emotions, and then just thinking, wow, maybe this is how I feel towards it. Why do I feel towards this? And thinking going forward what we can do, right?
Absolutely.
Because in elementary, obviously we're quite simple with it, but as we get developed into later elementary, middle school, we give them prompts that encourage them to just think a bit more deeply about their situation, right?
Yeah.
All of this really just helps them build their life skills to analyze their situation that they're in their future, as well as having media literacy and like that interpersonal, as well as actually was it interpersonal and then intrapersonal.
Yeah,
I forget the word. The other one.
Yeah. Just externally.
Those skills, right? So it's super duper important. But then, obviously, I don't think, because I realize like some teachers actually grade them not just for their writing conventions, but for content as well. Which I'm just like, that's bullshit. Because like if they're just writing about their day, let them write about their day.
Yeah.
If you're judging them, if you feel like that their day isn't detailed enough, that's kind of on you to give them more prompts for them to expand.
Absolutely.
If those prompts aren't given, then obviously they have nothing to write.
Absolutely. Right? And then I don't know, maybe this is just I'm just throwing ideas, but like you know, once again, everyone's gonna have a different day, a different experience, right? Even though like time at home, people mainly spend like 2-3 hours with their parents after school and everything. Yeah. Not everyone's going to have a day that's interesting enough, or a week interesting enough to write about. And even if you are looking at prompts, some people just
they don't connect with those prompts.
Absolutely. Right? Why need connect? Like I think that's the problem with a lot. Like maybe even adults, right? I don't know if you've had conversations with some people being like, I want to get into journaling, but sometimes I just don't know what to write.
Exactly. So I'm just like, you can't just tell them to write anything because they already know that, but they don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
If anything, like sometimes in that sense, freedom isn't what you need. You actually need kind of restrictions to really help them thrive.
Absolutely. Because, like, if you ideally were to write up a portion of the curriculum to be, I guess, how am I trying to say this? To be beneficial for the students, not only academically, but something that would actually nurture them in their growth.
Yeah.
How would you write it yourself?
Honestly, I feel like parts of the curriculum or certain parts of curriculum already address some of the things I was talking about self-reflection. But I just think like having it even more cemented in. That's a really good question. I wonder. I think it's just like with every, for example, if they have to do any kind of like novel study, like it should always be bringing it back to having personal conversations in a less formal context in which they're just able to talk about it, right? Because going back to once again what we're talking about, like being present in that enjoyment of life. Students are like that too. So many, like almost all my students are motivated by enjoyment or by something that is just beyond reward, right?
True.
They don't just like if you give them a sticker, they'll be happy for a little bit.
But it's not necessarily anything that's long lasting.
Exactly. Right? It's not sustaining them. We want that intrinsic passion for it. And to develop that is to that's why it's so important to just have them have casual conversations. So if anything, I think for me, I want to have a more emphasis on just oral and or different ways of discussion and communication, and having that as something that is very cemented and validated, as much as we would validate an essay or like a written story.
Absolutely.
Right? So if it, for example, if it comes to a quote unquote assessment from teachers to see how much your student understands, I think having a good conversation with your students is enough. Right? If they can show you verbally that they understand the story, they can expand on themselves, or just having that constant back and forth between you and your student, they're able to like answer your questions well, or even bring up their own questions. That is exemplary. I would be so happy to hear that.
Absolutely. It's just how people output it's so different. So do you think in a way that maybe they should, or maybe, I don't know if it is in process, but like finding fluidity in options for expression? I think that's something that, because even when you look at like between we're only like a generation apart. Not even I'm on the cusp. That's true, we are. But like when it comes to I remember with kind of looking at classmates of mine afterwards, after high school or even into university and past it, there's so many things that they could have done in the past, but it's not that there wasn't room to, but there wasn't open options being presented to them, you know what I mean? Because even when it comes to that conversing, right, I don't want to talk down on like male counterparts, but you see like how with men they have a really hard time talking about you know, themselves, their certain aspects in life, because they're kind of driven into this one picture, this one window. Maybe it's changed more for younger people now, but it's one of those things of where were the options to talk about, because it's not that people can't, it's just that people feel restricted to, or to explore it. They do it in a similar font as what they surround themselves by, right? Sports jocks are not going to discuss about things the same way that art students are going to talk about things, or dancers aren't going to talk about the same things as math league nerds. You know what I mean?
I love math people. They're so cool.
They are. I wish I had their brain. I'm not good at that.
It's okay.
But no, it's I think because in a world that is so open, we've reduced, when it comes to with literacy, right? As you were mentioning, and I think that's one word that kind of is sticking with me, as like literacy is optimal, not only as a tool but as a skill within your life, right?
For sure.
But I don't know if that is something that has to be taught in school as that kind of like reward and grade, or if that's something that should also be pushed towards like in yourself, you need this for yourself.
I like the
You know what I
second one. Like, I think definitely in yourself, you need this for yourself. Like, for sure.
Absolutely.
Hands down, right?
Because, like, even with those journals, I find it so fascinating that people mark content for that.
Right.
Like, that's so. But I think maybe this is why some students, they feel shy.
Exactly, because they're just like, okay, so people
They're-
are going to judge how my day is, then what am I going to do about
Exactly.
it?
They feel invalidated.
Yeah.
I'm guessing a lot of teachers, once they start marking those kind of things, the student will reduce in what they're saying, or they will bullshit about what they're
Exactly.
experiencing,
In which way they kind of defeats the purpose of having that authentic personal voice.
Yeah.
Because now they're just trying to live up to whatever the teacher wants to be or whatever the curriculum wants it to be, right?
Because when you said, like, for journaling, is that like strictly within, like, say, English or like language courses, or is that something that's like implemented in homerooms, kind of?
It depends, but definitely I see a more literacy leaning towards it. So, for example, Imagine, we will see it as well.
Yeah.
But definitely language is more, right? Although I do wish they would have it across all subjects, because once again, that self-reflection, or just that aspect of reflection is so beneficial in science and math and everything you do, right?
Yeah.
If you're stuck on something in like a difficult math equation, having that reflection can help you. And
Absolutely.
scientific knowledges as well, having that reflection will help you like find new things to tackle and stuff like that.
Because I think in a way, a lot of those, I guess when you have mentors and when you have educators, and I just want to say the system, because this isn't all teachers, but there's that reward and transactional basis, because, like, it is your job to do all these things and to feed information and to, nurture information. And, frankly, teachers should be paid more, because for me, every time I think about this, because even my mom, she works for the CBE.
Oh, wow.
And every time I look at the hours of how much you guys spend with the kids in comparison to what the parents are spending for the first, like, what is that, 13 years of a kid's life?
Yeah, so from like 12, 13.
Yeah. That's a lot of time.
It is.
And what parents are only spending very minimal outside of summer break.
Exactly, right? So that's why I'm just like, in all honesty, I don't really like this kind of system.
No.
I just feel like it really strips away the connection that the children could have with the rest of their community. Obviously, school brings community as well, but then it's within an institution, it's within a system that allows certain things but disallow other things, especially now more than ever.
Yeah, that's true.
So because of that, I almost wish there was more of a push towards having not necessarily homeschooling, but perhaps having more like where possible, where like the family or like the community of the child also takes on certain aspects of educating the kid and academic content as well. Obviously, that might not be the case for everybody, because maybe they don't have a parent, or maybe they're just like their home setting just simply doesn't allow for that.
Absolutely.
But then I'm just like, if we as a system were able to give parents more time off from work to educate their kids or spend time with their kids,
absolutely,
I feel it'll be like a positive circle.
Absolutely. Because even when how like they have the shorter Fridays and everything, what are people doing with their shorter Fridays? Like, maybe it's to enjoy time off, but I think that's where, like, how parents are always like, oh, well, how was school? And then you feel like all you have to talk about is school when you were just in school.
Exactly.
Right?
So I'm just like, bro, do something else with your kids. Have fun with them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you don't have to wait until, like, they're later on in life. Like, there's some parents who do it right, but, like, you don't have to wait on until later on when they're more interesting or per se, or, like, they found themselves after all that stuff. But
and I'm just like, obviously... It's just like, even though like parents have such little doesn't have that much time with their kids, they still have like a massive influence on the self and like just everything that goes internally with the child as well, right?
Yeah.
It's just like their presence, also their lack of presence impact it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So I mean, here's another question. I have so many questions.
I love your question. They're really good questions.
Because, now when you're looking at adults and the people who we surround ourselves by, the connections that we're trying to build, even within our city, right?
Right.
When we're looking at all of that, how, like, once again, we've talked about how you yourself have a very different view on the world as many other of the peers that you've come across, right? Same for myself. But what is your view on how people are either, I'm not going to say are trying to find themselves, but like how you recognize other people's relationships with themselves when you meet them?
Oh,
what is your perspective on that?
on how people present, or sorry,
Like, you know, okay, I don't want to say like this.
Yeah.
But when I met you, I can see what the relationship with yourself is.
I don't know how secure I feel with my
Yeah,
identity,
exactly. And if you come across other people in different conversations, say, and this is like full on interacting with, not just like, oh, someone walked in, I'm like, you could
clocked.
yeah, clock that shit. I know who you are, Samantha. But it is a thing of like, when I feel like people who have very different perspective on the world, you can recognize patterns on how people have relationships with themselves.
Oh, I see.
You know, like, what is your perspective with the world right now, or the societies that we live with right now, and like the people you've come across,
and their relationship almost
with themselves,
and how that impacts them essentially.
Yeah. How, like, what is your honest opinion about that?
Honestly, I feel like there seems to be quite a big dichotomy, in my opinion. Is either they're really certain about who they are, or they just have no idea.
Yeah.
And there's also like a secret third category in which they just never think about it at all.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that's really cool to talk about too. But I think I kind of want to go more into the people who who have realized that they don't really know who they are.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's like a purgatory for them.
Like purgatory for them, exactly. Right. So they're quite, in many ways, they come off as they try to appear confident in sometimes, but then also there's these moments in which they reveal themselves, and you're like, oh, so they do feel insecure about not knowing exactly who they are, what they are, what they want, right?
Yeah.
And I think people who, once again, really big generalizations. This
is just with individual experiences.
Individual experiences, specifically to like my circle. Okay, if you know me, I'm sorry, I'm talking about you.
But this is with love.
This is love. I'm not gonna name drop. Let's throw love, yo.
I can't.
Where's your heart? Oh right, your heart's with me.
That was good. That was good. That was awesome. It is with you.
Thank you. Sorry, going back.
Yes. We were having a serious conversation.
My bad. So going back to people who realize that there is such a thing as self, and then realizing they don't really know who they are, they're really easily influenced, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, I think everybody does go through, or like most people, I did at least, go through a phase in which I was trying some things out.
Yeah.
That, I feel gravity towards already.
Absolutely.
So I was trying to see if it would stick for me.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But in some cases, I feel like those people who think that they need to have that like set of, or like this solid self, I think they need to also realize that the self is always going to be changing, right?
It's ever evolving.
You're never going to be where you were a year before. You're always going to be somewhat different. And that's
absolutely.
And it's just like trying to find footing on a shifting floor, right? It's always going to be moving. And you have to realize it's not about trying to make the floor stop moving. It's about being able to bounce on it.
Absolutely.
Right? And not toppling over yourself.
It's familiarizing
Patterns as well, but also just like accepting the fact that you will change.
Exactly.
Right? So I think once again, it's like when I come across those people in my own in my own circle, I do hope that they could find some kind of solace within themselves, because that solace and that realization that you can't be this one thing perpetually is what kind of sets you off onto a journey in which you realize, oh, so this is what self is, right? This personhood is to change and is to discover and to learn and to admit when you're wrong, or hold on to values that you think is right.
5,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember for my 27th birthday, I did that thing like 27 lessons at 27.
Oh.
And one of my lessons that I wrote on there was your first attempt, or like your first projects, or your first process isn't going to be. Hold on, I have it.
I love it.
Like, I worked on this project just before my 27th birthday last year, because I was like, I've learned so much in my life. I want to be able to articulate what those lessons are, because 27 years and thinking I didn't learn anything in my life, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous not expectation, but assumption of myself, that like, oh, I've just been going through life, and like, that's why sometimes when people are like, oh, I just wander through life, I just go with the flow. It's like, are you going with the flow or are you making your steps?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I kind of see things. So when people are like, oh no, I just do whatever. It's like, no, you're not.
Like you're doing something. That means you're making some choices somewhere along the way.
Exactly. Wait, hold on. Where is it? Insert pondering music. Because
Insert Jeopardy music.
exactly. Dude, I found her. Okay, now to find the thing. Hold on. Do. Where is it? Hold on. Oh, there's a few on those lessons that I've learned. There is. Where is this thing? Oh yeah. Finding new systems take time. Your first, third, and seventh attempt may not work like your 21st. So it is one of those things of, well, as you said, it's finding footing. But if you treat life as not only ever evolving, but if you learn that every version of yourself is going to be a little different, and you learn to love that every version of you is going to be different, every lesson that you're going to experience in life is going to be different, it's going to be hard, it's going to be challenging, you will learn to have more ease in how you pursue your life.
Exactly, right? Because then you're not gonna hope for perfection, or you're not gonna beat yourself too down if you make
you're
a
not going
mistake.
to torture yourself for existing.
Yeah.
Because that's one part of just, I don't think we're taught that enough of, you will always be unfamiliar. You're always going to be in a situation of unfamiliar. And I think, I don't know if it's spiritual or anything, but whatever you come across, if you haven't taken into account the lessons you've learned, whatever hardship you're facing, you are not unprepared to face it. As unprepared as you think you are, and how, like, it might be your first time approaching it, you have the lessons to have hit this wall of unpreparedness.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, I remember some of the craziest stories in my life. Like, there's that kidnapping attempt. I think, did I not tell you about that? I almost got kidnapped on a first date. I didn't tell you. This was 2024.
Oh, the guy who was really creepy. Who
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, I don't know if I was kidnapped.
No, I almost got kidnapped on a date. No, he was a freak. But basically, if I hadn't gone through all the hardships I went through prior to this incident, I don't want to say I'm a shameless person. It's not that I'm like, I always equate this moment of my life or death kind of moment to this dare. One of my friends, her name is Rona. She was my middle school best friend. Love her to death. She was part of my 7S. 7S, yeah. But I remember me and her had this truth or dare kind of day. We used to get classes and we just play truth or no, it was in the summer, and we were just walking around Kensington and we were playing truth or dare.
Yeah.
And I remember she dared me at one point. Oh, I kept choosing dare.
Yeah.
I kept choosing dare, and she dared me to ask someone for $2. And I was like, oh, that's easy. And she's like, you're gonna do that? And I'm like, it's just asking someone for $2. And she asked me, she's like, are you not embarrassed, or are you not like ashamed, or like, do you not like, and she's like, do you not worry about like any like dignity about it? I was like, what? I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I simply don't care enough about what I have to do to get to my results. It's not that I don't have any values. It's like, this is innocently me asking someone for $2. You didn't tell me to shank someone for $2.
Exactly. You're not hurting me.
Yeah. The worst thing that can happen is someone says no.
Right.
And then I can retry until I get that.
Yeah.
If someone asks me to do something weird, I'm leaving. I don't need the $2 that bad. And if I want to stop my mission, I can choose.
Exactly.
So I was thinking about that kind of first initial person asking me, do you have any dignity? To me, escaping this guy on this date. Because literally my life was like, I was hanging on a piece of thread here when he asked me. He didn't ask me. He demanded that I kiss him. He didn't say I had to give him a good kiss. I just had to kiss him. And he wouldn't throw me into the trunk of his car.
He said that?
Well, no, that there was a car that was.
No, the trunk of the car part. Did he mention the?
No, because
Okay.
there was a car that like pulled up right behind where me and him, like behind my car. I was trapped between another car, and then the only other exit is here, but he has his arms around me. And the car that was parked right behind my car, the trunk pops open while he's like, so you give me a kiss or you get in the car. And I said, huh?
Huh?
This was a story time one day. I'll tell you guys in full fruition. But yeah, and my life was hanging on a thread with the idea I had to give this guy a kiss or I had to risk my life.
Jesus.
And so I gave him the most grandma peck. It didn't have to be a good kiss,
Yeah.
but I kissed him and I was able to get away. I cried in the car afterwards. It was absolutely terrifying, but I don't want to say I'm happy I didn't have any dignity, but I'm happy that I'm not so hung up on myself to get myself out of a situation.
Oh, I see what you
So if my ego was in the way the whole time, saying, well, I wouldn't do that. It's like, no, literally, I like my life more than I like my ego.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it so I'm safe.
Yeah.
And that's something I've recognized in myself throughout my whole life because I wasn't unprepared for that.
I see. Because like you're able to like, okay, we're going to do whatever you can to stay alive.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a little bit of a survival thing. And I think in a way, whatever I cherish more in that moment, I will dedicate myself to get it.
Okay.
And that's one thing I've learned about myself
Yeah.
on my 21st. That was my 26th lesson of life.
Yeah.
And it took me 26 lessons for me to realize this is why I'm the way I am. Because if I end up in situations like this is my crazy life.
Yeah.
If this is
Men do better. Men don't do that. What's wrong with
people
you?
are weird. I could have been weird, but that was weird. Maybe what I did, you guys could judge me. It's okay.
No, you're chill. This dude is fucked up.
He was, but once again, the world is such a vast jungle. There's so many different monkeys who can throw bananas and poo at any moment. But the lessons you learn in life, some people may not go through the same lessons that I have to get to that extent. But maybe the moment that you felt doubt in your moments at a younger age is probably the same person or the same lesson that you're learning when you feel doubt at your biggest moment, right?
That's why you mean like the karmic
Yeah, it's kind of like a
lessons.
karmic lesson. Yeah, because was there an experience that you had recently with yourself that you were like, why am I feeling this way? And then you kind of remembered maybe something parallel in your own life that you're like, I've already gone through this?
Man, I have really bad memories, so I can't remember anything.
No, it's all good.
I
It's all
feel
good.
like it definitely does come up, right? Because
Yeah.
obviously, like, if
It's in the moment.
it's in the moment, or it's just like, for example, if it's like a personality trait that I need to get over in
Yeah.
order to escape certain type of situations,
Yeah.
then obviously, like, it takes time to get over that kind of personality trait.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm pretty sure there should be.
Mm-hmm.
I just,
It's not right there in the moment.
it's so hard to think. I'm so sorry. I think like the closest one I could think of is just like how, because like when I'm really like in the zone and I'm in my extroverted zone and I'm just having like good time with
Yeah.
people, sometimes I overdo it and I end up like causing like discomfort to people around me, right?
Yeah.
And it's just been like a constant thing that's been happening my entire life.
Yeah.
And I think I've only kind of realized it like this
Yeah.
past few years, right? And because of that, we're making efforts to like kind of catch myself beforehand.
Kind of seeing where you're putting that energy from certain crowds.
Exactly. And then just like making sure that I'm not overdoing that, make people like uncomfortable or just straight up harming them, right?
Yeah.
Not that I've harmed them.
No, but it's just
But
like,
just, like it's just
impacts.
yeah, impacts them in a negative way. I don't want to do that, right?
Fair enough.
Yeah. So definitely I don't think that answers your question, but it's kind
No,
of
it kind of does. No, it kind of does
Yeah.
because it's in patterns. It's in patterns, and that returns to that. This is where introspection comes in because if you don't recognize yourself, you don't do the work to recognize yourself.
Yeah.
You don't do the work to recognize like the shadow sides of you.
Yeah.
You won't understand its purpose in the forefront. And even if it is things that you have to tweak, right? At the same time, it's learning to accept where that part of you exists
Right.
and finding the place for it in I guess in the reasons to why. And like my most ruthless and my most undignified versions of myself does not exist because I'm an undignified person.
yeah.
It saves me from a lot of danger in my life.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe in those moments where it's like
Right.
you are this beautiful big personality. Some people may not receive it, but that doesn't mean it has to cease to exist. You've appreciated it.
Yeah,
You just know that there's
channeling it.
different rooms that you're allowed to put it in. Not because it's not unwelcomed.
Yeah.
It's just that it's valued more
in
different
different
places.
situations. Oh, that's what you mean.
Yeah.
What a good introspection, girl.
I mean,
That's beautiful.
it is one of those things, but it's not like you haven't recognized that in yourself. Once again, in the moment, you may have come to that point of like, it doesn't need to exist in that space.
Yeah.
But it's not because you're saying it out of shame.
Yeah,
You just know the patterns, but you've also been yourself in many different rooms and you've shone brightly because of it. And it does not cause whatever discomfort or so-called harm, right?
right,
On other people's experiences.
right. Oh.
But you probably recognize that in your own immediate experience of it. You may not see it later on, but you've been able to pass through that moment
Right.
because you catch yourself and you're like, this, I can save this for another time in another space, right?
Oh, nice. Yeah. And this actually kind of ties it to like this educational concept in which I forget the name for it. But essentially it's like we don't necessarily want to say what one thing is ultimately that, or like this trait is just bad, right?
Yeah.
It's more just about repurposing that trait into areas or spaces in which it will be beneficial. It's all about redirection. It's a lot like Tai Chi. I love Tai Chi. I was just at Tai Chi.
Honestly.
Just redirecting that energy or redirecting that personal trait or just type of impulse into something that's beneficial for you or beneficial for the world or for other people around you. So if you feel like there's parts of you that you feel might be undignified or painful to other people or harmful, maybe just hold back on it. Like really think about it. Like what's some places that you can channel this into that could be productive or that could be not negative? Because I'm sure there's gotta be places, right?
Oh,
even like violent. I do martial arts, right? So
yeah.
anger. Oh,
Yes.
beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful
sexiest thing.
I love righteous anger, right? And obviously, I sound like I'm going to condone violence on everything, everywhere, but it's just like sometimes you do need that kind of aggression to protect you and the people around you. So just find that place to channel.
Absolutely. It's redirection, and also it's finding a home. I always call it finding a home. And like even now, say with the cleaning, everything has a home. And it's the same thing with your emotions. It's compartmentalizing.
Oh yeah,
That's what it's called. It's making sure that everything has a space to exist, even with anger, right?
yeah.
And I think that's like really beautiful. And I'm so happy you brought the Tai Chi thing. Oh my god, because okay, first of all, how did you get into Tai Chi yourself?
Oh, I like Tai Chi.
So simple. I like Tai Chi.
Like I say, I'm trying to think because I know growing up I really fucked with martial arts. I never got to the chance to do any form of it because my parents were a bit like, oh, you're a girl, you can't handle it, unfortunately. They know now, they know better now because they know I could beat their asses.
If you ever need a hitman.
I hit men, I guess. I don't know.
Only men. We don't condone violence.
Not on this podcast, at least.
Maybe later.
Maybe later, we'll see. But yeah, so I really wanted to get into it and then just because I know like Tai Chi is also very good for your body in many ways. So I asked my mom, I was like, hey, do you know any places where I can learn Tai Chi? I think it's because I saw somebody doing Tai Chi in like a competitive. Because usually when we think Tai Chi, we think of like doing slow by yourself with a group. You're not
No, but it's
each other.
purposeful, yeah.
But Tai Chi was originally made for combat, right? It was designed for combat. Is the reason why it's slow is so we can like it's almost like calisthenics in which you're like exercising like the joints and the muscles and the tendons of your body and then you're slowing it down so you can hold yourself steady, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not like it's making sure that everything's like equally.
Everything is equally distributed. You're doing the right moves at the right time. The timing is good, and you're not. And obviously, it's like once again calisthenics. If you can, it's like being able to hold your arm up for 1 second versus 10 seconds.
Yeah,
right?
very different
Very
holding
different.
of the body weight and everything.
Exactly.
Absolutely the mass of it all.
Yeah. So, anyways, Tai Chi competitive. I was like, I want to learn it, Mom. And so I asked my mom because she's like really tied into the Chinatown circle. So I was like, hey, Mom, do you know anybody that knows Tai Chi? And she's like, yeah, here you go. She gave me their number. I showed up one day and it was just a bunch of like beautiful grannies and grandpas. And then I found my sifu and they were able to adopt me. And I became their granddaughter. It's so great.
Honestly,
Yeah, I really have to say I have a really good sifu. So master, teacher, a mentor.
T-shirt.
Yeah, sifu is like Cantonese, shifu in Mandarin.
Yeah.
So he was really able to just like not just have like the physicality of it, but also just like both the philosophy and kind of the reason why, right? Because Tai Chi is more than just about replicating motion. It's about really tuning your mind body, but also making sure your energy is starting from the right place. So it's not just you're lifting your arm from your fingertips. That's gonna hurt you. It takes a lot more effort than lifting your arm from your shoulders, right?
True.
So that's how I got into it. And afterwards I got into a lot of different kinds of martial arts, and it's been so fun. I love it.
She's such a badass, truly. Honest to God, I think I love hearing you talk about this stuff. I do, because you so freaking cool. Okay, because the reason why I ask, because when you think about introspection and kind of like personal practices in your life, how has Tai Chi add to your day-to-day and connecting with yourself?
Oh, wow. I think so for this, I will want to start with like the physical aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's being so much more mindful about how I hold myself steady and just how I move up, like literally how I move around. Because I have this fat posture. It's to a point where my knees are like kind of fucked up because of it. But Tai Chi is like, it's about reposturing yourself and just distributing the weight across yourself in a way that is sustainable, right? And it's okay to change. Please don't bother. Sorry. It's okay. That was a hiccup. It's okay.
We're not gonna hiccup anymore.
It's okay to do it. She says, and then she hiccups again.
We're good.
So I guess when it comes to like this, how Tai Chi impacts my, what was it?
Connects you with yourself.
Oh, connects myself. Yeah. So I think once again, it also ties me back to what I ultimately wanted even as a child, right? Which was having that martial aspect and that practice to me. So it was like a really long dream. Like ever since I think I was 5, I really, really wanted to do martial arts, but just haven't had the opportunity. So Tai Chi was able to open that doorway for me. And then from it, I was able to be more bold and having a lot more confidence in my own capabilities physically, which is something I really never had, because I saw myself as like the bookish type growing up, right? So any kind of physical stuff, I just, I never really resonated too much with it, or to a point that I was scared.
Yeah.
So having Tai Chi, having that to really, really safe space with the grannies and grandpas was able to just giving me once again like this different type of confidence in my physical capabilities that I never had. And in which case it really developed into, it's cool because I just saw how it helped, or like it developed a different sense of self for me.
Absolutely.
Before it was all about the mind emotions for me, but now it's also about physical capabilities and the relationship I have with other people and how much I'm able to spar or just do anything like that, right? So now I not only see myself as somebody who is not really good at it, who's like a bookish type, but also somebody who's able to
like proficient within
exactly
being able to be physical within the martial aspect.
Exactly, right? So I just feel like I'm a lot more. Yeah, so I brag about it a lot, by the way. I'm like, I fucking
honestly,
around with the sword.
So worthwhile though. So worthwhile. You should be bragging about this 24/7.
Yeah, so I like to fuck around with the sword.
Yeah, she can use a sword.
That's not how you do it, but like whatever, right?
Hey, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you want to get fancy, maybe martial art movies kind of, get creative with it.
Maybe I'm Jackie Chan.
And I'd be Chris Tucker. Let's go. Can you say the word that comes out of my mouth? How you were able to, maybe this is how I'm interpreting it, but you're able to connect with yourself by feeding that version of yourself that you used to have, that dream that you weren't able to live out then.
Exactly.
So being able to connect through, I guess, either accomplishing or pursuing a goal or a dream that you had, it's made you more, I'm not going to say full, but that may just be on assumption, but like more in tune.
Yeah, in tune with what I actually want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So which is really cool. So I'm just like, once again, self, it's something that you can build towards consciously, but also subconsciously.
Absolutely. And I think what's really cool, because you bringing in the physical, because a lot of people don't necessarily recognize that with how they can be themselves. To be yourself, you have to take care of all planes.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. It's mental, it's spiritual, it's physical, it's emotional. you are not just one plane,
Mhm.
right? Like, I know for myself, like, I used to be a dancer when I was younger.
Mhm.
And growing up, that's all I wanted to do was dance, dance, dance. And then I left high school and I wasn't dancing as much. I was only performing for my community. And then I kind of lost it. And then it was 2024. I got into working out for the wrong reasons in a way.
Oh.
Well, kind of in the wrong reasons. There was that one guy, he was like, "You got a great body, but believe it, if you start working out and you start putting on some muscle, like, you'd be a goddess." And I said, "A goddess?
You're already a goddess. What kind of...
I know." But even then, like, it wasn't even like I wanted the approval. It was just like, my ego said, "She's right." But I don't want to, like, I've had other men in my life be like, "Oh, well, you should work out." Or other people like, "Oh yeah, why don't you come to the gym?" And I was like, "No, I'm not doing it."
I
But
feel like it was you.
yeah, and I was like, actually, you know what? Someone is on my same level, on my same scale, and it's very egotistical for me to say. And then I started. But then I realized that me focusing on my physical attributes wasn't helping me with being in tune with myself. But what did help me was that, and kind of in opposition, I started reading, and my bookshelf was getting massive.
Yeah.
And then I kept getting exhausted of like having to take my books out to move my shelf to make more space for myself.
I love that. That's my favorite.
So what I actually really wanted to do was, I want to be stronger so I can lift up my bookshelf without having to take all my books out.
That is so, like, that's just so in character, you know? Like, that makes so much more sense than putting out there just sort of to be like a muscle.
Yeah, no.
Nothing wrong with that, but
No.
still.
We love a muscle mommy, don't get me wrong, but
Yes, we do.
I did love, like, I still remember when I picked up this, like, I think it was like a 4-shelf stacked with books and journals.
Oh my God.
And I picked it up with ease, and I picked it up and I carried it across 2 rooms.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, I didn't feel it. And I did it with proper posture. I didn't feel sore. And I was like, oh, damn, I'm strong as fuck. Yeah. And then I realized one of the things that connects me today with kind of being in tune with myself is that the strength and the like mobility I felt when I was a dancer was very freeing for me.
Okay, that's the perfect time. We're going to leave it there for now. If you take one thing from this first half, let it be this. Knowing yourself is not something you figure out. It's something you practice. I talked about wanting to be strong enough to carry my own bookshelf. She talked about stone carving, about Tai Chi, about reconnecting to her body after years of being away from it. None of that is abstract, and none of that requires you to have your life figured out. It just requires you to show up in your body, in your attention, and the small things you choose to do with your time. That's the word. That's all of it. Part 2 picks up where this leaves off. We move from the inside outward, into heritage, into culture, into how the people around you shape who you understand yourself to be. It's some of the strongest material in this conversation, and I cannot wait for you to hear it. But until then, pay attention to your own practices this week. What are you doing with your hands? What are you doing with your body, with your time? What is that telling you about who you are? This is Forever Pondering. And until then, remember to stay relentlessly curious.